Good Sunday morning. I'm KHOU meteorologist Ramirez. We are starting off with a very breezy day here across southeast Texas. We are seeing the arrival of this cold front that's going to cause those temps to struggle to make it out of the 60s later on this afternoon. Some of the coldest temps that we've seen this season is going to be tonight into Monday morning, but looking live right now, mostly clear and sunny. Definitely seeing those temps at 65 degrees. Sunset will be at 5:28 this evening. As we look at that hourly forecast, we're going to struggle to make it out of the 60s. I think some of us might get up to 70, 71 degrees, but then the evening hours dropping into the lower 60s and 50s by 8 p.m. So it's going to be a pretty chilly night tonight. Today's forecast, expecting breezy conditions with winds gusting up to 25-30 miles an hour, but it's overnight tonight. 40 degrees in downtown North Shore at 40, 41 in Pasadena, Makawa at 40 degrees, Alameda at 39. Areas in northern Harris County likely to see 30-degree temps, 36 in Tomball, 39 in Jersey Village, 39 in Aldine. Conroe at 37 degrees. I wouldn't be surprised if some of us in our extreme northern areas actually make it to the freezing mark. So we're going to have to really keep an eye on those pretty cold conditions. And when you factor in the wind speeds tonight, even though winds are not going to be as strong, we're going to see still gusts between 15-20 miles an hour. And that's going to cause feels like temps or wind chills to be in the 30s all across the board. And some of us in our northern areas likely to see 20-degree wind chills. So more of the stronger winds are going to be southwest of Houston. There is a wind advisory for Wharton and Matagorda counties, as they could see 40-mile-an-hour winds out in that region, but we are expecting winds to continue to gust between 25-30 miles an hour, at least through the 7 o'clock, and then eventually lightening up in the evening hours. But if you are heading out to the Texans game today, we are expecting a very breezy day. Temps about 66 by 10 a.m., 12 p.m. 67, 70 degrees by 2 p.m., 4 p.m. getting down to 65 degrees. As we look at that 10-day high temperature trend, we're going to expect to see a very short-lived cold front because we're going to be rebounding back into the 80s by the middle of the week. So a very chilly next 12 to 24 hours, especially as we head into Monday, as this cold front is just bringing in a low pressure system that's going to be situated off to the northeast, and that is very well going to continue to cause us to be just a bit chilly here across the area. So temps 60s, lows dropping into the 30s and 40s. Also, we have to keep an eye on that fire weather concern for today. The Texas A&M Forest Service fire weather outlook is showing an extreme risk for wildfires, especially for most of southeast Texas. That does include Houston, Spring, Montgomery, Huntsville, Cleveland, League City, even along the coast. That's the highest risk that you see on the fire outlook risk from the Texas A&M Forest Service, because we have extremely dry conditions as well as the gusty conditions. The increasing drought, the dry vegetation really is prompting the National Weather Service to issue a fire weather warning for all of southeast Texas through today, as winds could be between 30-40 miles an hour. So some dry brush or some grass fires could very easily ignite for today. And just keep an eye on those burn bans. Burn bans are in place for most of our counties here across our area, which does include the unincorporated areas of Harris County. But we are expecting also areas to the northeast. There is a flash flood watch in place for portions of Polk County, and that's all in place because of the areas downstream of Carter Dam. A dam failure may lead to flooding in some low-lying areas, so we're watching that pretty closely. We've had details on that on KHOU.com on what's happening out in that area, but that's not really weather-related. That's more of the dam that's having some issues out in Polk County. For the next few days, we're going to be mostly sunny, not expecting much in terms of rain chances, at least until next weekend. We're going to see the arrival of another frontal system that could bring some showers and storms for us here across the Houston area for the first half of our next weekend. So that's what models are hinting at. So we could see some more of those cooler temperatures or this reinforcing cold fronts that's going to really just cause those temps to remain a bit chilly here across our area. Temperature outlook, temps are remaining above normal at least between November 15th and November 19th. That does include much of the south central U.S. And as far as your 7-day forecast, temps just at the roller coaster ride, at least for the next 12 to 24 hours through Monday, as we are expecting the arrival of those cold temps later on tonight. So just keep that in mind, that if you are out and about, we are expecting those conditions to remain mostly just breezy out there. I think temps are not going to be as cold for jacket weather today, but just keep in mind that tonight it's going to be a rather chilly outlook, especially for today. We have the Lone Star Rally going on out in Galveston. This is what's going on right now. Here's a live look out along the coast. You're seeing very very breezy conditions with those palm trees, and those tents are just remaining stationary. I've been on tent watch the entire morning, and we're not having any issues with those tents. Those Lone Star rally goers are actually, they know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing when it comes to those tents, because they've stayed pretty stationary across the seawall. As you're able to see how windy it is. The winds are so strong out in Galveston that it's actually pushing the Gulf back away from the shore, and so you're able to see quite a bit of sand and beach out there across our Gulf facing beaches. Look at Pleasure Pier all the way out there. You're seeing a lot of sand there as the winds are just making the water a bit on the lower side. So the National Weather Service did issue a low water level alert for our coastal areas for today, so just keep that in mind if you are heading to the coast. But 66 right now here in Galveston. North winds at 29-30 miles an hour, so breezy conditions definitely to be the case for today. Sunset will be at 5:28 this evening, 65 right now out here in Houston, but to mostly clear skies, very breezy conditions, and I can only imagine that those windy conditions could cause those feels like temps to be in the lower 60s, as temps are going to struggle to make it out of the 70s or out of the 60s later on this afternoon. So breezy conditions all across the board. This is all thanks to the cold front that is moving through our area. That's already cleared our area, but we are just expecting those conditions to remain mostly just breezy and cooler, and we're not going to really see the cold temps at least until this evening. So get those jackets out. If you have kids heading off to school or work tomorrow, make sure to have those pretty thick jackets, because we're going to see some 30 and 40 degree temps here across the Houston area as you wake up for Monday morning, especially across Harris County. Areas to the north likely to see in the low 30s, Navasota 33, 37 in Conroe, 39 in Katy, Ocampo 42, 45 even out in Galveston. So it's so long to the summer-like conditions. We are expecting a fall-like outlook, at least for the start of our week. And like I said, when you factor in those wind speeds, it's going to feel as cold as 36 in Houston, 26 in Huntsville, 27 in College Station, 31 in Conroe, 38 out in Galveston. And that's the reason being is that the National Weather Service has issued a wind advisory. More of the stronger winds are going to be to the west of Houston, which does include Wharton and Matagorda counties. Even Galveston County likely to see some gusts up to 35 to 40 miles an hour. And so definitely keep that in mind. If you have those loose items around your yard, you might want to secure those if you have them already. If you haven't already, they're probably down the street, especially as we head into our the rest of our afternoon. Go Texans! We are expecting rather breezy conditions if you're heading out to NRG Stadium for the game. If you're heading out to tailgating, like I said, you might want to bring some reinforcement when it comes to the tailgating if you have those tents or loose items out there, because we're not going to really see any winds, these winds lighten up anytime soon, at least until tonight and into Monday morning. So as far as your 10-day high temperature trends, we're going to rebound quickly back into the 80s by the middle of the week. I think Tuesday is going to be the day that we're going to see the return of pleasant conditions, especially for Veterans Day. But highs in the 80s, lows back in the 60s, so we're going to be feeling that fantastic weather once again returned for us here as we're dealing with this cold surge of air now moving in from the north, especially for us here across the area. So for your future temps are just going to remain a rather roller coaster ride. It's the fire weather concerns that we're really concerned with, especially for all of southeast Texas. So extreme fire weather hazard. This is from the Texas A&M Forest Service. Areas that you see in that bright red has an extreme level. That's the highest level that the Texas A&M Forest Service issues for fire weather concerns, because it's going to be very easy for fires to become out of control or easily ignite, especially if you are doing some outdoor burning. If a spark hits the dry vegetation, that could easily cause a grass fire, and we don't want that. And so now fire weather warning in place for all of southeast Texas for today. That's at least until 6 p.m. as those current burn bans are indicating that we are seeing those increasing drought conditions. And so our local fire officials and the fire authorities have issued burn bans for all of most of our counties here across our area. So also, once again, we're having some dam issues off near downstream from Carter Lake. So that's out on private property. However, for folks that are downstream of that, might want to be concerned with that flash flood concern. This is not weather related, but it's what's really happening in terms of a problem with the dam that's out there. But dam failure could lead to flooding in some low-lying areas. So hopefully they get that situation fixed pretty soon. But just expect a mostly clear and quiet week for us here across the area. We are expecting the arrival of our next system next weekend that could bring a few showers and some cooler temperatures, or keep those temperatures a bit cool as we head into the next few days. So as far as the next 7 days, we are expecting cold temps tonight. Definitely bundle up, make sure those heaters are working. If not, might want to go buy a space heater because we are expecting lows to be in the 40s and 30s here across the area. Veterans Day, we're expecting sunny skies, clear conditions, 70-degree temps. Wednesday, we will see those temps rebounding back into the 80s. Not going to be until Saturday where we will see a 20% chance of showers and storms for us here towards the end of our week and into next weekend. So just keep that in mind to stay warm out there and secure those outdoor items. Also, might want to just avoid burning at all today. I know it's a Sunday. We have family probably coming over, but just keep in mind that we do have those fire weather concerns for today. Well, I'm meteorologist Chris Ramirez. That's all I have for you. Thank you for watching KHOU 11+. Make sure to tune in back later on this afternoon at 6 p.m. to tune in to meteorologist Pat Calvin on your week forecast.